Good morning, good night, and good evening, my loyal subscribers. And today we've got LordSlayer again in some more sub play in a U201. He's dibbed up in the new Asymmetric mode with Musashi, Iowa, Delaware, and Nagumo. He's in the middle. Musashi and Delaware on his right. Nagumo and Iowa are on his left. So we'll get to see what this sub does. Again, I can't really speak for any personal experience in sub gameplay. My experience is very limited. And those of you that have probably heard my opinion on subs, I have no intention of playing them. Unless we get a really good op, like something other than Wolfpack, like a set of dedicated ops solely for them. Then we'll probably play some subs. But my only problem with Wolfpack is that it's extremely hard. And the fact that they haven't added it to the random queue, I mean, absolutely. If it was in the random queue and you could play it with randoms, I think it would be very popular for some players. I would probably play it at least once a day to get my dailies done. That's it. But I mean, that is as far as I would go to play subs. Just to get those to the tier 10. Or at least tier 8. Because of the steel you get every year. And the anniversary bonus containers. That's literally it. Maybe I'd go to 10. I don't know. But again, you see that the torps do reload in 60 seconds. And they're all forward front. So he's only allowed to go in one direction. Now, I mean, for a typical sub, for at least for Germany, he gets hydrophones, which allows him to get the bearings on ships if he's underwater. Submarine surveillance, which detects the subs at, 9 kilometers. Very useful. But since there's no subs, that's basically irrelevant. And then the reserve battery, as long as this is active, it does not deplete. So if he has like a full battery and he activates it underwater, it basically stops his, battery from being used for 30 seconds. Now, the bots in asymmetric mode don't ASW unless you're detected. If you're a detected sub, then they start dropping you. But also, you have to be within ASW range. For some odd reason, they don't really have the depth charges aren't. They're programmed more to target, cruisers and the lowest health ship, but they don't depth charge because he's just pinging, and under normal circumstances he would be very visible to any player. The GDs, but the bots just turn away, letting the sub just kind of do what he wants to do. And I think asymmetric mode was great, but I think they should have banned Yoshinos. Or not Yoshinos, but Schlieffens. Schlieffens and Kurfürst should have been said, nope, we're not going to let you play these ships no more. I think that's what they should have done. Because I know a lot of people were irritated because you just have Schlieffens and Kurfürst. And the battleship queue was just ridiculous. I mean, you could play any other ship and you get a Schlieffen or a Kurfürst. You couldn't even play any kind of... Honestly, you couldn't play any ship without having a German ship. And that really wrecks the experience. My best matches and my funnest matches were ones where I outdid a Schlieffen in a battleship, or where there were no Schlieffens. Or no Germans in general. Those were my funnest matches. But you did see he did lose the little Gumo. So, in the Iowa, Iowa's almost dead. He's at 1/3 of his health. Delaware's just kind of doing, well, Delaware things. And, well, the Musashi, it can tank for quite a bit. But if it gets focused, it's going to go down. But I like to see this. He's within 3 kilometers of the sub, or this Nebraska. And there's no ASW coming in. Like, they've really, you know, I think for some reason they thought people might place subs in this mode to level them up. And that's why they have no ASW. Or they're not as good. But I don't know. It's just a little biased to me. Because, I mean, this feels like almost like I'm watching him hunt a random player to an extent. Now, their Iowa does go down. The whole right side, or left side, has fallen. And the Delaware kind of has to do whatever he can do because, well, it's a Delaware. That whole flight deck will die under sustained fire, so he can't do much. Now you see he launched a full set of torps. Watch these torps. Detonates it with 1 torp. And it's sad because if he hadn't, he could have shotgunned the other Richelieu, or the Richelieu, which is hilarious. But again, see, the torps just reload all at the same time, which is something I do like about the German subs. I do like it about the German subs because, unlike the Americans, well, they're actually pretty decent, except for their homing torps. The Americans just have their dummy torps, and they had single reload like ones, which I'm not really a fan of. But the Gato seems to, well, make up for that.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
So it's literally his whole right side is the only one still alive. And odds are his Delaware are taking damage. But you see, now, there is something that happens that I really don't approve of subs in how they do. He's out of battery, okay?
Commander, we've been detected.
Enemy cruiser detected.
It's only when they're like this close that the AHW actually starts to kick in.
The ship is on fire.
But when they do kick in, he gets focused.
Problem solved, sir.
And he loses like half his health.
No battery.
Enemy destroyer detected.
But I don't approve of how a sub can, you know, surface for a tiny bit, gain its battery up. Like if it's completely out of battery, it surfaces for just a tiny bit to get that battery, and then it drops back down. I don't approve of that. I think that's a stupid design,
Torpedoes.
and I don't think it's really fair. But I mean, like how Wargaming does this, they basically design a class that basically makes it so that players play this ship and have a certain kind of pop. They have to justify a certain population for that ship in particular. That's why we see CVs kind of not get much well, nerfing, like you see, watch this.
Problem solved, sir.
He's gonna run out of battery. But Wargaming never will nerf a ship
Battery depleted.
outside of reducing its player numbers and not, and to the point where they aren't, well, I guess what I'm saying is that they won't nerf or they won't basically, Wargaming won't nerf a class of ship to the point, or balance it to a point where it reduces that ship's player, player numbers or percentages on what they deem acceptable. They keep it at this level to basically justify, the work they did. That's why CVs have stayed, fairly unpopular amongst most players, and subs are going to head that same way. But the problem is, how long until that attitude kills their player base? Now, you did see he did just resurface. But in randoms, he would surface just a tiny bit, gain his battery, and jump back down. I don't approve of that. I think that's stupid. Now, his Musashi is going to go down. His Delaware went down. Basically, his whole team's gone down. And Musashi can tank, but against that kind of cruiser firepower, yeah, Musashi don't do good against that. I get the Musashi shooting the Algerie, but with French-based armor, you never know if you'll get a Citadel or what. But there are issues with subs that I don't agree with. I don't. That's why I choose not to play them. It's my form of protest. I don't choose to play them because I know how the system works, and I condone the system. That's why I'm an operations channel focus. But I do randoms gameplay, and I can still fight submarines. But I mean, as far as Wargaming's, percentage basis goes, as far as a class, there's nothing we can do about that. That's just the mindset they have, and it's been like that for years. But is there a point where it just stops, where the player base says, we're done with it?
Enemy battleship sighted.
I don't know. I really don't know. But we'll just have to see. Like, I think the next 2 years will be critical. Because we've seen, Flamu and others do the player numbers. We've seen them do it. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, I think if operations came to tier 9, I think, again, we would see player numbers and randoms drop because people would go to operations. Because operations are typically a safe zone. Yes, there is a set of competitive operation players there. Absolutely. But it's also not as, well, I guess you could say brain dead than randoms. And he doesn't kill the Baltimore there because of damage saturation. He's targeting that bow so many times that the HP part on that bow is gone. So the damage kicks in and, well, damage saturation. Had he hit the rest of the hull, odds are that Baltimore would have died. But you also kind of see the play style of subs is. And I just find it honestly boring. I just find it boring. I played some randoms. I'm not that good in subs.
Battle ends in
But I
5
just find it
minutes.
boring. I'm just not a fan of the gameplay style. And I know a lot of players that don't do it.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
But I will say that subs are like Unicum CV. A good sub player is, well, like CVs in the old days. If they know what they're doing, they can basically turn the tide of a match. The only downside is that CVs in the old days could actually still have somewhat to be fought against, to an extent. With this, there is less you can do. Because, you know, the pinging range, the torp range, just everything. It's, at least with a CV, you can at least dodge and try to shoot down planes. But even the ye olde days, if a CV wanted to dev strike you, it would do it. There was nothing you could do. That's why I think subs are the RTS CVs of, well, this day and age. You get the bad ones, and then you get the good ones. Permanent flood on the Hawk. That guy's flooded. So basically, he just needs to wait, you know, another, what, 12 seconds and then all of his torps. One thing I've never seen Slayer do is shotgun. I've never seen him shotgun a ship. He also did provide us with some Thrasher gameplay,
Commander, we've been
and
detected.
we have that coming up next month. A lot of replays you have sent me, folks, will be uploaded next month as part of the new upload schedule. Again, like, there have been some times where
Problem
he's,
solved, sir.
you know, been at this kind of depth, and he could have shotgunned a lot. He could have shotgunned it by now. There is not much that bot can do, so there's really no point to do it the conventional way. Even I know how to shotgun. I've shotgunned stuff and subs. I like shotgunning. I think it's fun. I just don't like it when it's done to me. I think it's annoying as hell, but I can understand how my opponents would feel.
Commander, we've been detected.
Like, you saw the depth charts. He could have easily have shotgunned it. Twice. That's the second attempt at shotgunning that he could have done. Because if it doesn't
Problem
torp
solved,
him,
sir.
or if it doesn't shoot him, and the whole point of shotgunning is to allow very limited time for them to shoot, he could have shotgunned it. Absolutely. I mean, at this point, it's just U-turning. If he used the sub surveillance, he would have. He could have probably. He'd most likely have a detected. Like, this is probably the closest I've seen him shotgun. But even though the bot is technically, like, you can see the gun still turn like it's thinking, but it can't do anything. But you see that he would have won even if he hadn't killed it. But a good match for Slayer and his U.